Okay.
Hi, everybody. It's a pleasure to have you here today. Welcome to another session of Compass Games Live. We got a full-packed session for you today. And again, for those that are on Facebook or YouTube, you can use your comments stream. Feel free to type away, and we'd love to get your questions for today. Especially, we have our special guest who's going to be speaking with us later today, Ty Bomba. We're going to talk about Paper Wars. So, would love to get your questions about Paper Wars today. And of course, we're going to cover quite a few other items as well. So before we get started, I just wanted to give you a quick update before we get into the heart of the show, and that is our overall release schedule. So a few things really quickly, and I won't bother sharing my screen right now. You can just go to our homepage and you'll see the schedule. But we're getting ready to ship Decision at Kasserine, so you'll probably notice I've got a little Decision at Kasserine over my shoulder here, other side actually, boom. So that's why we're getting ready to ship that, so I'm excited about that. Also, we have some big pre-order announcement news I want to make. And actually, this is different. This is in the area of second printings. So I'm going to be actually getting a newsletter out just to let you know what these second printings are going to be. And it's nice to know we've got 4 new second printing titles coming up that you can pre-order starting now. So I just want to mention real quickly what those 4 new pre-order titles are, and I'll add them to the schedule so you'll see them added there as well. But we're going to do a second printing of the African Campaign Deluxe Edition. That's the design by John Edwards, a very classic design back from the 70s. We're going to do a second printing of Pacific Tide by Gregory M. Smith. You could probably see Pacific Tide sort of hiding just above my chair there. That's why you can see it in display. We're celebrating the second printing of Pacific Tide. Same for Zeppelin Raider. So same concept for Zeppelin Raider. We're also going to do a second printing that has also been sold out. So these are all sold out titles that we're going to be doing a second printing of. And last but not least is the huge, beautiful weightlifting version, Crusade and Revolution Deluxe Edition. So that one's so big, I don't even have it on my wall here. It's so big, but that's going to be, that was a huge popular seller. We sold out very quickly, has magnificent components. People commenting all the time about the huge mounted map, huge playing pieces, the production quality. People are really praising it. So we're really excited. So again, we have these 4 new second printing pre-orders. They're on the website. Please note it might be hard to find them because when you go to the pre-order page, we have a lot of pre-order products and they're not at the top. So we're just going to get announcements out about these 4 new pre-order titles. So if you can, make sure you subscribe to our newsletter as well. And that's another way you'll find out about some of these new happenings at Compass Games. Last thing I want to mention before we get officially started with the show is just to reiterate our release schedule. So I talked about Kasserine already. Also, a next set of releases in June. So coming up shortly after the weekend for the month of June, we have Brief Border Wars, which is a quad game by Brian Train. I'll be looking to have an interview scheduled with Brian in the next week because that game's going to be coming out fairly quickly. We then have Brotherhood and Unity. Brotherhood and Unity was also on Kickstarter. We had a brief Kickstarter campaign as well. You may have pre-ordered it, or you may have got it on a Kickstarter pledge. But again, Brotherhood and Unity, which I know a lot of people, it's a long anticipated release. Great topic, by really interesting design background there. So that's coming up in June. And then I'll be talking with Ty a little bit. Of course, I've got the big Paper Wars Hannibal issue posted right up here. So that's our next release, Paper Wars 95. And we're going to talk a lot about Paper Wars today, so that's why it gets the big image. And then that's going to round out the month of June. So then for July, we've got 3 titles. We've got Dawn's Early Light, which has been on a Kickstarter recently. Right now, we've got a Kickstarter with Commands and Colors Tricorn, Jacobite Rising. That is a standalone. It's a standalone game for Commands and Colors. You don't have to have the original Tricorn American Revolution game, but this is standalone. So that's going to be in the month of July as well. And rounding out the July schedule is Joe Bukowski's popular title from Victory Games, doing a designer edition of the Korean War. Often sought after title. People really like that title. So that gives you sort of the background. And again, just a reminder for those viewers, if you have questions, please post your questions during our broadcast today. We'd love to get your questions. And we've got quite a few people here actually that are going to be joining us. So we're going to actually welcome in everybody that we have. So joining me today is we have Bill Thomas from Compass Games. How you doing, Bill?
Good, and you, John?
Good to see you. And then we've also got our special guest for today is, of course, Ty Bomba, the editor of Paper Wars magazine. So before we get into Paper Wars, Bill, and talk more about that, I thought we'd just give you the floor for a moment. I'd like to give you a chance to just do a quick update, snap update from your side as we get started, the latest happenings at Compass Games that you would like to share with everybody today.
Okay, I hope everybody's doing well. Yeah, one thing we're gonna start doing is we're gonna start doing behind the scenes at Compass, because I think a lot of customers out there don't really know a lot about Compass and don't know what we do and how we do it. Okay, don't know the history. So once a week on Friday at around, I think 7 or 8 o'clock, I gotta work that out with John. Okay, I'm gonna be on talking about Compass. Okay, and it could be a variety of topics. Okay, to give you guys behind the scenes on what happens here and who's who and what is going on. Okay, any questions will be answered. If I can't answer them, I won't answer them, but I'll tell you I won't answer them. But I would say that most questions will be answered. Okay, some are proprietary, but at the end of the day, I'm willing to share a lot of information because, again, Compass is not, there hasn't been a lot about Compass, where we came from, where we're going, and what we're doing, okay, as a company. Okay, we're probably one of the mysteries of the. Okay, so that's what I want to do going forward. And I'll be on every time, John, even outside of that. And I'd love to take your questions. The topics, I'm never going to know what I'm going to talk about. Okay, today I wanted to talk about 2 things. I thought it was 3, but I forgot the first one, which I don't know why.
I'll fill it up. I'll find a way. I'll make something up.
The first one was Precision Capturing has actually shipped.
Okay. I knew it. You did it again. You did it again to me. You shipped early.
Yes. Okay. So it actually half the pre-orders went out today. Okay. The other thing I wanted to mention is the COVID situation and what Compass did under that scenario. Okay. Obviously, we were in shutdown. Our state was one of the first to shut down. Okay. And so we had to do what everybody else did. Okay. But as an owner, okay, and so everybody knows, okay, Compass used to have 3 partners back in the day. Okay. It's now me. Okay. I'm the sole owner of Compass. Okay. So I decided that people are going to be staying at home. So what better than to give a once in a lifetime sale, because we've never given 40% off. Our catalog has been anywhere from 25 to 30. So I talked to my son, Bill, who's a very intricate part of Compass, and I said, look, if we run this sale, it's going to be you and me shipping those games, doing everything, because office staff is gone, everybody's gone. And he said, Dad, let's do it. Okay, so we spent, me, Carolyn, my wife, and Bill, spent 13-hour days, okay, getting those games out, okay, because we didn't have our regular warehouse people. We had nobody, okay. It was just me, Bill, and Carolyn doing the paperwork. And so the sale was very successful, and I want to thank everybody for purchasing what they did, okay. Then on top of that, I said, hey, we've got Folder Gap. Let's mail it. We've got Dawn of Empire. Let's mail it. So COVID for us was, again, because we value our customers, okay? And it's not about the, because it's not technically about the cash or the money, because we would have released them anyways. We would have had a sale anyways at some point. It was all about that we wanted to, I said, people sitting at home during lockdown, or whatever, they stay at home. My bad word, lockdown, but we'll say stay at home. Okay. They could have something to do and they could get something in the mail. So we shipped almost 10,000 units of games between the sale, which was very successful, Folder Gap, and Dawn of Empire. Okay. And we did that, not again, and we didn't make noise about it. We just said we were, but I think as we go forward, there's going to be a lot of things I'll bring up and a lot of questions you people will ask that I'll answer. Okay. And
so here's a question post. Like I said, it's great when people post here, and we like to keep this interactive. So here's a comment from Jeff Newell, Bill, that you can probably read here yourself. So if, yeah, any comments are welcome. I'll show more comments during the live feed today as people add comments. We already have a lot of questions actually already. So just want to share Jeff's comment.
Jeff, yeah, we were 3 partners back when we set this up. Okay. Back a long time ago, it was a hobby. It was never supposed to be what it is today. Okay. And I'm not going to go into what happened, but everything happens for a reason. So one person, and it was all amicable. Okay. It was not bad. One person left very early on. Okay. Probably a year, 2 years into it. Okay. Then it was me and Ken for years. Okay. And then things just, and it's nothing. Look, Ken still works for me. Okay. He's employed by me now. Okay. But he didn't, whatever. I'm not going to go into that kind of detail, but he's not a partner anymore. So I've been a partner for, oh God, years, probably unofficially for maybe a little more than that, but that's Compass and what that's the structure. And as we get into more conversations, there'll be stories I'll be able to tell you about Compass and that I don't think anybody's going to mind. It's not derogatory because I'm nothing derogatory against my first partner or the first one. And Ken, I'm nothing. We still work together. Okay. So that's the question there. Okay.
Oh, yeah, and the rest were just thank yous. The other 2 I showed they were thanking you, Bill, for doing that sale. One person who was, I believe it was Sean here, I'll show again. He just bought 6 games from the special offer you did. So obviously it did have an impact and helped, we're happy to do it, of course. And a lot of games there to play, 6 games. Wonderful.
And then the other issue was, do we wait for Stellar Horizons? Okay. And we could have waited till staff all got back and everything was back in place as it is now. Okay. But we actually shipped Stellar Horizons, okay, 2 weeks before everybody came back for all the pre-orders. Okay. And Stellar Horizons has probably been very successful. Okay. Pre-orders, it's a great game. So we did a EU shipping for EU. So those people haven't been able to get theirs because our EU shipper in Germany, okay, has been on, they just got back to work. So it's coming. They're packing it, they tell me. So, but everybody should have gotten their pre-orders unless they're from Europe and the UK. Okay, because those are coming out of the Euro division there. Okay, so that's why I just wanted to tell you that those are the kind of things. And look, the questions are, I'm more than happy to talk about anything. I've got a list on my agenda that will keep us occupied for at least 3 or 4 months of this. Okay, because there's a lot of things. I read everything online, and Bill does too, and he comes and tells me, and I say, and I hear the negatives. Okay, I appreciate the negatives. We can always do better, but he'll come and tell me, oh, you can't believe what this guy said. And yeah, it ruins my day for a second. Okay. And again, it's all about getting better. And yes, we make mistakes, and you'll find out more as time goes on. One thing I will say, and then I got to go on to Paper Wars because that's the lead into Ty, and I don't want to bore him. Okay. Is we get pricing. Everybody keeps saying, oh, Compass, you're high priced. Why are you so high priced? Because I made a decision years ago that we were going to produce in America. Okay, all our games up until 2 years ago were 100% produced in the USA. Local printers in Massachusetts. Okay, counter people in, I think it's Wisconsin. Okay, all made in the USA, and it's all and I read it all the time, and it's been something that's dragged us down, I think, over the course of our business a little bit, is that, oh, your games are higher than GMT. Your game, oh, this is ridiculous. How can I pay this amount? Because it's being made in the US. Okay, and that's a decision that you guys, if you're as customers, I understand your position. Okay, and I don't, if you don't want to buy the game, but you got to understand, it's not me making obscenely amount of profit on you. Okay, I can go to China and get those games done for half or less. Okay, and I just won't do it. Okay, what we have done, because the market has driven me, because I want to compete, I want to build even further than where we built, is the market on mounted maps. I go to China. Okay, on mounted one map games, I go to China now. Okay, because there's no way I can even compete with a mounted map made in the US, because it's more than double what it's in China. So I have done that. So right now, I would say about 80% of our stuff is still made in the US. And then so what we did, and I know MMP does this on their boxes and have done it for a long time. So what I did is, on our web, actually put a logo on games that are made in US and games that are made. And so I'm not asking, I'm just saying that it's a business decision I made a long time ago, and I still am doing stuff in the US. I don't think I will never, not say never, but right now, even though I've been printing in China, okay, I still have like 80% of my games still being done in, Folder Gap was done in the US. Okay, Dawn of Empire was done in China. Decision Capturing, all done in the US. Okay, so that, and I just want people to know that, because I was at a convention one time and a guy comes up to me and says, "Why are your games so expensive? Why are they more expensive than GMT? I don't understand." And I said to him, I go, because we make them in the US. China is and people don't understand, there's three, it's either US, being made in Europe, or being made in China. US is the most expensive by far, then Europe, then China is the cheapest. So I just wanted to get that out. Now let me go to Paper Wars. Okay, Paper Wars has always had a tough, what do I want to say, road under the leadership of Compass Games. Okay, and partly my fault. Okay, partly because we were always dedicated to the box games. Okay, and Paper Wars was something that it's tough to get all the pieces together. Okay, so I said the other day, okay, or not the other day, about 2-3 months ago, I was driving in my car and I'm taking my wife to the doctor, and I said, because I think about this 24/7. I wake up at 5 o'clock, 3 o'clock, 2 o'clock in the morning. Okay, and I said, we need to do something different. So the first person that came to mind was Ty. We had done some stuff from Command, and I said, Ty's the guy for me. Okay, he's given us some End of Empire. We've done some Command reprints from him. Okay, and he's had some other things that he had put in for us. So I give him a call, and we had a good conversation. This Ty, I think, was, oh my God, maybe 3 months ago. Mine was a while ago. Okay, and I said, Ty, I'd like you to come on. We talked. We seemed to fit. Okay, and Ty seemed interested, but it wasn't going to happen. We had to transition it. So I said, why don't we transition with issue 96? Yeah, 96. Okay, which would come out probably in September. Okay, so Ty was on board with that, and I'm glad to have Ty on board. And I'm telling you, I think, and like he said to me, what direction do you want to go in, Bill? Or what do you want to see? And I said, look, Ty, I'm open. Okay, you give me the direction. Okay, we'll talk about it, but you want to know something? You're the expert in this. I'm not an editor. Okay, I have my own games I like. I have my own way I like to do things. And then the other sticking point was looking for how it was going to transition. So Ty is going to be in charge of Paper Wars, and I think he's going to bring Paper Wars to where I want it to be. And I think he's going to do a great job. So if you want to, Ty, if you want to start and say some things about what you think about Paper Wars, we can go that route.
I agree with everything you said.
Well, that's good.
Yeah. No, I agree. Like I said, I agree with everything you said. Actually, the first issue you assigned me is 97, which is Galicia 1914. Then 98 is First Blood in the Crimea, Alma. 99 is Assault on Tobruk. That's one of the classic reprints from Simulations Canada. 100 is Inkerman, which is a systemic brother game to Alma. And 101 will be, I believe, the first mini monster appearing in the magazine K-Scaled, which is a science fictional what if, the Axis invasion of North America 1945-46. 102 will be Santiago, 1898, from Javier Romero. And 103 will be Second Fallujah, by a designer whose name now escapes me.
I'll look it up.
Yeah,
I can find it. Yeah, and that's too many names, but
right.
yeah, no, I actually worked with the designer for that one, so I'll try to sneak onto my emails, and yeah, I don't keep track of names myself very well, so I have to look it up myself, so not a problem. But that's a lot of issues, and actually what I plan to do is for everybody, since actually for the Paper Wars issue you're taking over, that World War I Battle for Galicia is going to be first, actually. So I thought what I could do is I could show that on screen quickly. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just switch modes just for a moment, just to show and share a little bit about issue Galicia, which will be issue Paper Wars 97.
Yes.
And I'll go ahead and just see if I can switch over to that now. Let me just turn sharing on. So give me 1 second to share my screen here. And there we go. So right now it should be coming up. So hopefully you see it now on screen. So there's a good view of the map. So actually, if you look up on Board Game Geek, gives you a really good idea about Battle for Galicia. This was done as a DTP game by Michael Rash, and Michael's well known for his monster-sized World War I games that he's done. 1914 Twilight in the East comes to mind as an example. He's done several. So this is, giving it a nice professional treatment in Paper Wars issue 97. And I'll just sort of zoom in here a little bit, fit the width here so we can see it a little bit better on screen. So Michael Resch did, 95% of the artwork, and then Newt Grunitz finished off the map. And this definitely looks different from the original. I could even see from the if you can see on screen, everybody, the paper background's a little bit different. It's got a textured approach to it, etc. It's got some nice displays, got the reinforcement schedule, just the all basic stuff you would expect. But again, really going to be a nice issue for Paper Wars. And Ty, actually, this one's more than a single counter sheet. This is 1.5 counter sheet. So here's an example, and I'll let me go ahead and just zoom in a little bit here again, just to show the front of sheet 1 for Galicia 1914. And then the back side is right here. Reduced strength bands, of course, on the units. And then it's a half sheet for the second set of markers. So on the left, you see the fronts, and on the right side here, you see the backs. That's effective combat, etc. during play. So again, really nice rounded out package. Really coming together nicely. Now this is actually 2 issues away, because we've got 95 coming out first, and then issue 96. But 97, your first official issue, will be Battle for Galicia. So I'm just happy to share a little bit about that title with everybody. Thought it was good to show that.
Yeah.
And then I'll look up when I get another break. I'll look up so we can give credit for Battle of Fallujah. I want to make sure we give credit to that person.
I'm embarrassed about, I've been emailing back and forth with them all week, having a good exchange of information, but it's just, I've been emailing back and forth.
Oh, here we go. Steve Liskey. I'm sorry about that. Yeah, it's Steve, of course. And somebody helped me out on YouTube to save me from going to my email client. I'm sorry, Steve. I know your name. I just was drawing a blank there for a second. But Steve approached me at Console World Expo last year with Fallujah. And it's really a nice footprint, I think, for Paper Wars Magazine. I know it's now got your full attention moving forward, and I know you're going to do a great job with it, Ty. And question from Gregory Smith for you, Ty. I believe I'm trying to recall what issue will contain the America Bomber expansion pack. So just for those that uninitiated, B-17 Queen of the Squires is a wildly successful game from Avalon Hill. And so Greg, and I don't know if Greg, if it was your idea alone or if somebody else gave you the idea, but you took the B-17 system and did this alternate history, sort of a preface to Case Geld, I guess, a little bit, Ty, to your Paper Wars monster that's coming. But, the premise that Germany's doing bombing strikes on America, which was planned out as part of the war effort. So Greg did research on that for the game. But yes, we're doing extra counters and expansion pack and Paper Wars. Do you have the issue handy?
Number 100, because Inkerman had half a counter sheet left over. It's an intense but rather small battle, so he's got almost half a counter sheet to fill up with new aircraft and all that kind of stuff. It's a major variant. I mean, I believe he's going to put in also I think the Japanese big Japanese 8-engine bomber or whatever they're going to put in Operation Z, and he's got a Delta Wing Horton strategic bomber. I mean, the wraps are all, if you enjoyed American Bomber, you're going to love this.
Right. So I like throwing in sensitive questions because we have a lively audience, and it makes things more entertaining. And I think they're good questions. So I think I saw a fun one here from Jeffrey Miller over on YouTube, and I think it's worth asking. Is there any concern, and Bill could take this question on as well as the publisher, of course, owner, any fears of political backlash with Case Geld? And I know that question is arising because there was backlash back in the days of SPI. There was internal talks, and they published their position on it. End of the day, this is some 30, 40 years ago, I guess. But good question from Jeffrey Miller. Who wants to take that one on?
Yeah, here's my philosophy. I would say if there's backlash, there's backlash to everything you do. Okay, I'm not worried about it because, oh my God, what's the show that's a very high? There's a TV show that's done very well.
Man in the High Castle.
Man in the High Castle.
Man in the High Castle, right? Which is the premise of Germany winning, and in the U.S. after World War II. Yeah,
I'm not concerned. If there is political backlash, then there is. But it's a game. That's all it is. And my thing is, we play games where the Germans win World War II. It's a game, and that's how I look at it. And like I said, if there's backlash, then we'll deal with it, but I don't think there will be, and it's not going to make me do it or not do it. Okay, I see a question on here in regards to artwork. We have about 5 artists, okay, across the board, and we don't have, as people see, we don't have a set that all our games look alike, because each artist has their own specific way of doing things. Okay, so no, we do have, if you go from one game to a next, they're not always going to look like, I can tell this is a Compass game. You tell by the box, but you're not going to tell, because we do have, and they're all, so we have about 5 different artists that work on our project, and they all bring different qualities and different ways of doing artistry. So that was a question that somebody asked, and hopefully I answered that.
Yeah, you did. And then there's another question from, sorry, I don't have his full name, ERMJ, wants to say hello to Ty Bomba. Oh, it's ER Bickford. Yes. Hi, ER. Good to have you on again. He's a regular, I think he's on regularly. It's great to see him. And he wrote, looks like he wrote a bunch of replays for a different company. many of your games, I know what the company is. I think it's Decision. I'd say probably. I think our audience is very well informed, but I appreciate AER's politically. We're just talking about political correctness, not to mention other companies. I think it's okay. Yeah, great times, great stuff. So everybody's really looking forward to the future. Can you talk a little bit, Ty, since we're getting questions about the impact of having you on board officially for Paper Wars, and I know Bill's given direction of what he likes to see. From your perspective, Ty, can you talk about what some of these changes are going to look like, what the elevator pitch for Paper Wars is going to look like moving forward under your leadership?
Well, I have not been brought on board to revolutionize it. There's a lot that everybody was rightfully happy with about the magazine in terms of the article content. In my discussion with Bill, he says he just wants one historical article in each issue, that is the game support historical article, and which should be written to support the design decisions in the game. And the rest will be filled up with essentially what you could call Compass Games support articles for the other games. In other words, AARs, analysis, new scenarios, variants, etc. I mean, the company has an immense backlog of games, and we can easily support that with, well, not easily, but we can support it with variants and expansion packs. And the first example being the America Bomber thing. Without Paper Wars to put that expansion variant in, it would have had to go through a whole box game production cycle to get that out. Here it is, we'll get it out in a couple issues. And errata fixed counters are always a popular thing. You put them out and they're happy. We'd already done this with one of my games, Brezhnev's War. There was a complaint that I had made the French too strong and the British too weak in that game. And so I arranged with, it was Ken at the time I was working with, there was space. We published an alternative set of counters with degraded French strengths and increased British strengths. And so that if, there was a war that never happened. So if that's what you believe the appropriate strengths were, you can now play with weaker French and stronger British, though I had my reasons going originally. So, in that sense, you want to support the full Compass Games line, both boxed and former Paper Wars games. And then also the reprint thing, we can take these many beloved games from bygone decades and give them a fresh new look, and those things always seem to sell well, so.
Absolutely. So what would be the ask for? I think you want to build a pipeline of articles. I think now's a great opportunity to let people know, with the direction of the magazine you've just explained, how can others help get involved, help with the success of Paper Wars as far as content?
My one concern here is that it seems to me that these days about 10% of the people who call themselves war gamers are doing actually about 90% of the actual war gaming. And for much of the rest of the hobby, due to time pressures, family pressures, war gaming is mostly about owning games and looking at them and screwing around with them solitaire a little bit. So what I'm getting is that the people who are really sitting down and playing across the table from each other, there's not as many of them as there used to be. Now, I'm not condemning anyone, whatever you want your hobby to be, that's what it is. The trouble is, it's those relatively few guys who develop the expertise to write the articles I'm after. So if you do fall into that category where you're actually playing these games and getting good at them and getting to know them, you're the guy I want to talk to. Likewise, I'll be chasing after all the designers and developers and playtesters of the previous games, because you can't do that without, again, developing that expertise. And so it's finding people with the expertise of actual play, as opposed to every day on Facebook the number of shelfie photos that come up, and again, that's great. If pride of ownership is, if that's your hobby, that's fine. But I can't fill Paper Wars magazine with articles containing shelfie pictures now. So
yeah.
The people with play expertise, after action reports, reviews, scenarios, whatever, don't feel inhibited. Please come forward. You're a rare breed, and I will exploit you to the fullest.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's a really good point. So I think one question came through, which I think is an excellent question, and this will be for you, Bill. Matt had a question that goes back to the history of the company, which was your decision. Maybe you can give us the backstory. Perfect time to ask this question, actually. since we're talking about Paper Wars. What's the backstory and how Paper Wars was acquired and your thinking behind that versus, say, launching a new magazine? That's from Matt Chestnut on Facebook.
Yeah, that was we had talked to Bill Gibbs for years. Okay, I knew him, not personally. I knew him over the phone and stuff like that, and talked to him a couple times. Okay, the issue about Paper Wars was that what that was going to come with was him. He was going to still be the editor. Okay, so at that time we were a very small company. Okay, so we didn't know who we were going to have, so we said, okay, that was the thought behind it, was he was going to be the editor. And then within an issue, things happened and it didn't work out. Okay. And that really threw us for a loop, because in those first years, the first couple issues took years to come out. Okay. And the reason for that was because, so that was my decision. Okay. Was that Paper Wars was coming with an editor. Okay. And we didn't know how to edit a magazine at the time. So, and that didn't happen. So that was the rationale about that, besides starting a new one. Okay. The other thing I want to mention, because I think is Ty's first complete game in Paper Wars is Paper Wars 97. Okay. But he will be doing the layout and doing that piece for Paper Wars 96. Okay. But he won't have a lot of input into that one. Okay. But he will be involved in that one. But his true leadership, 100% of his leadership will be under 97. 96, Ty will be involved in, okay, because Adams really, his last issue is 95, right? Hannibal, yeah. And 96 is like like a transition issue. Okay, so I just wanted to make, because I don't want people to say, hey, when it happens, okay, I just wanted to clarify that.
Sure thing. And then I should add real quickly that last week we recently announced the new Paper Wars subscription. For those that subscribe to our newsletter, it just takes 1 second. All we need is your email address, and that's it. And we announced Paper Wars subscriptions, our next batch of subscriptions, which covers the next 4 issues, 97 through 100. So anybody who's active right now with a subscription, just so you know, you're good and covered through issue 96. So you're covered with 95, which is coming in the next month. And then you're also covered for 96. But then all subscriptions end with 96. It's basically your termination point. But that's where we always appreciate you doing your renewal. So if you go to our website, you can go to the Paper Wars subscription option on the nav bar, and just select Paper Wars subscription, and then scroll down. You'll have 3 choices. You have a domestic shipping, Canada, and for overseas, international post. So issues 97 through 100 are available right now to order from our website. And I saw a comment here earlier. Somebody's already subscribed, and somebody's definitely going to buy issue 100 because they want the America Bomber bonus bonus package as well. So, and which is great. That's sort of like the direction of Paper Wars, to support the games we do even better. So, so Jim is asking, actually, where do we subscribe? What is the website? So let me go ahead and share my screen, because I think that's a very important question, and I want to address that fully. So we're going to go back here just to my monitor just for a moment, and I'll pull up the home page. So let's go back to the home page at Compass Games, and we actually just did a quick update earlier today. You'll see this yellow block on the left. This is brand new as of today, and trying to make it easy for you to get subscribed to our newsletter. So again, just go here, fill out from the home page on the left sidebar, put in your email, let them know you're not a robot. You'll get a confirmation. It's also a double opt-in, so you'll get an email confirmation to validate your email address, that it's you that did this, and that you do want to have a newsletter subscription, and you'll be set. But as far as Paper Wars subscription goes, if it's the magazine itself, as I was talking about earlier, I don't want to confuse people. We have the newsletter, and then there's Paper Wars itself. So you click on Paper Wars subscription here, in the main nav menu. And then the first few selections will be the magazine without the game. I hope and recommend that you scroll down a little bit to issues 97 to 100 with the game. So right here we have international shipping, Canada shipping, and if I go to US domestic, the information's all the same, but I'll show you here. We basically spell out what the 4 issues are for the 97-100 run. So you can get an idea who the designer is, what the game's about. If you want more information about each of these 4 issues, there's also an individual entry for each issue of Paper Wars. You can also navigate to that and look up the information that gives you more details about the game itself. That's the featured insert game. So again, great question from Jim. So if you're looking for subscriptions to Paper Wars, it's right there from Paper Wars subscription at the top nav bar area where I've highlighted here, the yellow part right there. Or if you're looking to do just a standard newsletter to get information about all the latest happenings at Compass Games, just fill out the newsletter form that will appear on the left column right here off the left side. And that's all there is to it. So with that, I'll stop my screen share and we'll get back to business. Ty, looking at your past, is there any particular issue that stood out for you? I don't know if it was, people were commenting about Command Magazine. I read the comment, you were ahead of your time, what you did with Command. And I remember I was living in Arizona, and I walked into a general game hobby shop, and lo and behold, there was this Command Magazine issue, which was actually wasn't your first issue. It was the first one that used icons. I think Larry Hoffman did, Kadesh. And I think it was, I don't know if it was the first computer generated one that had icons in the counters, but I did a double take. Yeah. It was very one of those impactful moments for me in the hobby, because it's the first time I remember seeing a magazine that had really nice, fancy icon counter work. That was amazing.
It was the first
game. Yeah.
That did color icons. And then GMT very soon after that came out was, I think, an Ancient Wars game or something. But that was, before that, it was Silhouettes or stuff, so that was a big one, yeah. Some
people have their favorites. I know for E.R. Bickford, it was Proud Monster. Was his, and that was a huge issue. I mean, that was a big issue for Command Magazine, was Proud Monster. And then the follow-on title that you did for that, the later stages of the war. So was there any in particular, like, I don't know if it's fair for you to put you in the spot to pick a favorite, whether it was the most challenging to do and the most you got out of it, or I don't know if there's one that is, maybe Blitzkrieg being your very first issue and you mailed it out to everybody for free, which was a pretty daring act.
That was the only play we had. We didn't have enough money to do any kind of advertising or marketing, but we had that mailing list, and we blew the money and sent it out. A lot of people have a sort of almost a romanticized attitude looking back on that, because the 90s, of course, was the ragtag end of our generation's youth. But I mean, I'm a much better game designer now than I was then. Even though I thought I was pretty hot shit then, I'm much better now. I've learned a lot more. When you develop a lot of war games, you meet a lot of designers. If you pay attention, you'll learn a lot. And so what I fondly remember about the 90s, I'm sorry we failed with Command Magazine. I'm sorry there was a lot of people got stuck with partial subscriptions at the end. I assure you we did everything we could to save that thing. I mean, to me, the big advent of the 90s was I was in my 40s, and I was dating college girls all through the decade, because we used to bring them in to collate the magazine.
Oh, nice strategy there, Ty. Wow, wonderful.
Magnificent, ended up getting engaged to one of them for 5 years, and then she split. But I mean, it was a good time. So that's as far as war game designs go, I'm doing the best work now that I've ever done, and I'm looking forward to doing more in the 20s, like with the 2 Crimea games. It is my impression that the Crimea battles, and this is thanks to Bill, he recommended them to me, is that because of that silly SPI quad game that one of these much admired, hardly ever played games, that old SPI Crimea War quad game, what a screwed up system. I mean, just, all this weight to carry, and what is it they think they're simulating there? If you read up on these battles, nobody had that kind of quantitative understanding or command control of those battles. And so, and you were required by the rules to essentially role play the entire command structure. And that's where the complexity comes in. You're not only making the decisions of the commander, you're making the decisions of all these people under you. And so and the trouble with that is there was no one person who existed who had that kind of knowledge. And so you got all this complexity thrown on you, and it's not aiding reality anyway, because no one could make decisions on that. So in my system, which you've already seen in Vagram, I ask the players simply to role play the decisions the Supreme Commander would make. And everything else is built into the mechanics. I first became aware of that when I was back at the NSA, and I used to brief generals and admirals, and I would ask them, do you want more details on this aspect of it, sir? And they would always say, no, that's what we have majors and captains and sergeants for, to handle all that crap. I just want to make general decisions, you know. And so that's where I build it in. And I think if anyone's played Vagram, you can have a lot of fun with it.
Seen some really good comments. I've seen on Facebook a few people have played it or have it on the table and they're really enjoying it. And they said, oh, good, more titles on the system. Yay.
So you're right. So I'm hoping these next two games really reclaims the Crimean War force. There have been some other attempts to cover it. French company did one. But again, they took this high technology, this high tech approach of mechanical, in-depth, kind of rules, and just who is going to carry that weight to play those battles? Whereas you can sit down with my games in an hour, beat yourselves to death and have a good time doing it. So
that's great. And then Carl had a question which I want to make sure you had a chance to address, because I don't know the answer to this. I know there's a lot of Command Japanese issues out there. I don't know if it's actively, if they're still going through a run of print or not.
Yeah, they have a page on Facebook.
Okay.
We don't drive any income from it anymore, not since Command America went out of business. But not only is there a Command Japan, there is a Command China, published out of Shanghai by Warground Games. And so, in that sense, my legacy is now spreading up the Yangtze Valley. Let's see how far it goes. In fact, just this weekend, I'll be turning in my next design for Japanese Command, which is called Escape to Nowhere. It covers the Soviet winter offensive of 43-44. And as a companion game to an earlier design I did for them. So yeah, they're still out there and pumping away. Let's see. I wanted to say something about Case Geld.
Yes, please.
The whole political correct backlash on Case Geld. You want to remember that Case Geld was the single highest feedback game old SPI ever did. Single highest. And then they decided not to do it because of some screwed up notion of 1970s political correctness. The whole idea being that there's a subculture of Nazis in wargaming that's just waiting for the right moment. Some game's going to come out and trigger them, and they're going to call Der Tag, and then they're going to bust out and start the Fourth Reich. I reject that nonsense. I don't think there's any more political extremists in wargaming than there is in the general population. What draws me to the topic, especially since I hit on the idea of using the Battle for Germany split command system, is that it's a wonderfully interesting strategic situation. The guy who commands the American West Coast forces also commands the German East Coast forces invading over there, and the guy who commands the American defense on the East Coast is commanding the Japanese invasion on the West Coast. So you can win in either of your command roles. I balanced it by putting the Axis forces on a clock. They've got 12 turns, 1 year, because the idea is their economies are at full stretch. And if they don't win World War III or win World War II soon, their entire empire collapses from internal economic stress. Likewise, all 6 of the major national Manhattan Project research sites are on the map. And if the American players can hold on to those, then they start getting A-bombs. You've got patent tank, super heavy tank battalions that are being produced by the Americans, historical order battles of the Japanese and Germans from their late war armies, and all this politically correct brouhaha that breaks out every time this game is mentioned. If you'll actually watch it, there's a small handful of guys who are doing that. They post and they post and they post, and there's a kind of echo effect due to social media, but actually the reception is overwhelmingly positive. And so you're going to get this wonderful mini monster game that is challenging strategically and can be played solitaire, in the magazine. And so I'm really satisfied to finally help. I believe that's the last of the old SPI legacy games that never got published. I'm really glad to be filling in that last hole there.
No, it's
But
going to be, I can imagine that issue for sure is going to get a lot of attention, not just being a big monster release, but yeah, the topic, I'm sure we'll have fun online. I know there's going to be comments on Facebook. I can guarantee you right now, guys, I totally get it.
Chris Perello and Jack Green were my play testers. And I mean, the playtesting, all afternoon we're screaming and laughing. That's how much fun it was.
Yeah.
You get two old lions like that who are, having a good time. It's going to go. It'll be fine.
No, that sounds really good. So I was going to open it up for questions. So everybody, Ty, I want to thank you for your time today. So I think, I think that's a really good overview of the direction of Paper Wars and how we're all excited and how obviously everybody's excited to see you're officially on board and getting things rolling on that front. So I thought I'd take this moment to give everybody a last call to get some questions in. So this could be for you, Ty. It could be for Bill. Maybe it's something I weigh in on as well. There's, and also want to thank everybody out there. There's over 150 comments because I'm looking at YouTube and Facebook. So you guys have done an amazing job, and it's made my job extremely difficult to try to track all the comments to try to get your questions in. But I'm going to try my best right now. So I'm going to throw out some questions. First one is from Dave Newman for Bill, and that is any news on Devil Boats as far as I think that he's basically asking a potential release date for Devil Boats.
Yes, that's one that is on one map came. So that's going to China, and it's actually in China now being produced, and that takes a lot longer. Okay, so I'd say we're looking at sometime in the fall that will be released.
And that'll be the fall this year, the fall. So fall time frame. Great. Okay, another question. Again, I'm trying my best, everybody, because I'm really scrolling through a lot of content here. And again, I take all takers on questions. Every question is fair game here with Bill. So from Kev Sharp, is it also a factor of volume, Bill? So this is a question going back to your discussion around printed in USA. And I think you were basically starting your presentation around sort of the pricing differences that you hear about Compass. And Kev is asking for if you want to add more meat to the bone. There are other factors besides printing in US that might contribute to your final pricing of a title.
And that's true, but nothing is as extraordinary as the made in US. Yeah, they might get $1 difference. They might get a 10% difference because they print volume. Okay, our volume. Yeah, if you're talking about a 3,000 to 5,000 print run compared to a 1,500, 2,000, okay, yeah, you're going to get some kind of volume discount, but it's minimal. Okay, now if you're doing 50, that's different.
Sorry,
but the biggest thing is made in the U.S. Okay, there's no.
Yep. Okay, great. So thanks for your question, Kevin. Welcome aboard, Mo. Great job with your channel, by the way. I want to thank Mo and Kev Sharp. They're big contributors to the hobby to help keep the interest level up and going, getting new gamers involved. Thanks for all you do for the hobby. We really appreciate it. Next question's from, is Combat Eastern Front in the works or a possibility? So this has to do with, Combat's that big Ross Mortel release that Adam Starkweather assisted with, Bill. Yeah, so I know we've announced a D-Day to VE Day for Combat, which is an expansion. Ownership of Combat is required. So now Joe's asking about, can we do this dance on the Eastern Front one day?
Yeah, the next Combat after the expansion kit is going to be in the Pacific, and then it goes to the Eastern Front, and they're already working on them.
Yeah, and that's true for like the titles we see that are extremely popular and successful. We definitely take notice of which games people are talking about and playing and wanting to see more of, and Combat definitely falls in that category. So thanks for that question. Another question, let's see here. I think I skipped by one that I wanted to have. Okay, so question for Ty. We'll give this one to Ty from Darren. Did I correctly understand correctly that Paper Wars will cease containing content about non-Compass games or historical topics? Is this the case? So just clarification on what is being covered in the magazine with each issue.
There will be one historical analytical article in each issue in support of that issue's game topic. In other words, in the coming up issue with Galicia 1914, there will be an article titled that in support of the topic. and the game design decisions. The other companies' games, we will no longer cover that and no longer be covered. The idea is we have a huge backlog of Compass games. I've gotten some criticism about that already, but here's the thing. Let's say we run a killer review of some other company's game. How does that look for us? And likewise, if we run a laudatory review of some other company's games, we're sending dollars somewhere else in an already highly competitive market, where any company, big or small, you can get your own free page on Facebook and do your own promotion. We have a wealth of product here at Compass, and so that's what we're going to be promoting with the Compass Games magazine. Makes perfect sense to me.
Great. And then General Like on YouTube asks a sort of a similar question I asked earlier, but yeah, good question. So what designs, past designs? You've done 200 designs. I should mention for the audience that my understanding, and I think this is covered in an upcoming issue of C3I, you've got 22 or more active current designs in some stage of production or development, that you've got your own personal designer pipeline is 22 game titles right now or thereabouts, right? Does that sound about right?
About five or so different companies, yes.
Yeah, and you've got 200 that have been published, etc. You'll be 200 plus
designed and or developed.
Designed and or developed. So out of the designed and or developed bucket, any particular designs stand out in your career?
Yes, by far, Boom and Zoom. Boom and Zoom is if anything I've done rates the term brilliant, it's Boom and Zoom. That always astounds the hardcore war gamers when I say that. They're expecting Proud Monster or 7 Days to the Rhine or whatever. In Boom and Zoom, I have captured the essence of strategy, and I've done it in about 2 pages of rules. I know many people stay away from it. They think it's too simplistic. Get it, sit down across from somebody and play it. As soon as you get done playing it, you'll want to play it again.
Exactly.
So,
there you go. Perfect answer. And I've played Boom and Zoom with you. I played it in, was it Fresno, or during, I think there was a Decision Games thing in the 90s or something. With
Brandon. I thought you were going to come to blows, you two guys. That day.
It was a great game. Really, really fun game to play. So yeah, great. And then a question for Bill from Nuno on Facebook. He'd like to know if there's any news you can share about Indian Ocean region. He's really looking forward to Indian Ocean, which I understand because the other title did so well, the first game. So yeah,
and that is a game that is probably 30% in the warehouse as we speak. Okay, I would say that's about 2-3 months out, and that's all made in the U.S. Okay, so we're just waiting for some components, but we're just finishing the rule book up. But that's that will be before. Okay, one of the issues that Compass has, okay, is we're sitting at any point in time on 4 to 5 completed games in the warehouse. And when I say completed, they're actually boxed, they're actually completed. Okay, the problem is we have a tough time of spreading those out. Okay, because I find that we can only do 1 or 2 a month because, again, the marketplace. But right now, I've got 5 games that are totally complete, production ready to ship out the door in the warehouse. So that's why COVID didn't affect my shipping, because we always have stock that's there, and I use some printers in Massachusetts or whatever to get some final things. But like I said, there's never a time that we don't have 4 or 5 games sitting in the warehouse ready to go.
Great. And then another question that came through actually Facebook earlier today as I was preparing for today's broadcast, a question about the status for Death in the Trenches. When will that possibly be released from Compass Games?
Okay. That has been a project that has just, Ben Madison is working on it, and it's just a project that's just taken so long. But I touched base with him, I think this week, and he said it should be in my cans by the end of June. Okay, and then we have to review it, and then that's one that goes to China. Okay, so because it's a one mapper. So that's going to be 6 months out from that by the time, because China is not as fast as US production, and secondly, the shipping. it takes 6 to 8 weeks for it to ship from China to New
Yeah.
York.
Exactly.
Okay,
All
so
right.
with that
Yeah.
being down.
And that game, there's a huge interest in Death in the Trenches. I think I get asked that, every few weeks about if there's any update on the website about that game. So I know when we get closer, there's going to be, a lot of attention on that game. So
I'll interrupt. I did see somebody asking, would we be interested in a Balkan War?
Yes, I saw that as well.
I love that topic. I always wish there was an S&T game on it, but I always like to give people the ability to do a historical setup, because some people don't have the time to set something up. So, definitely, if we could get a game on Balkan War, we definitely do it. I would love to. Ty, you can design it.
No, I'd go to Joe Miranda. He's the one who designed the game you're talking about, and I know he has refined his thinking on it since then, because I've talked to him about it.
Okay. Yeah, no,
So
that'd be great.
I'll feel him out about a Balkan War game, sure.
There we go. Okay, well, let's see. Looks like I'm going to get put on the hot seat here with a few questions for status updates as too, if I can find them now. My thread is runneth over, but let me see if I can. I'll just talk to them. Yeah, so here we go. So a few good questions for me. Any news on Shoots Troopa? So yes, I'd like to give you an update on that. So what happened is we're in the Q&A phase where we've got the map done. I'd say the counters are done, but then I'm going to take it back and say the counters aren't done, because as we're working on the order of battle displays for setting up the various scenarios, we're stuck on one reinforcement schedule where the unit designations on the counters aren't quite aligning with the counter manifest. And there's been some challenges to get through that step to basically, quite literally, it's like I just got to carve out a week of my time to take the counter manifest, the official designations of each unit, map it to the counter art, and then map it to the display. So basically, I would just say we're in this proofing limbo where we're not quite getting the clarity we need to get on the unit designations to make sure the displays are correct, they're errata free. The rules are done as far as a full draft edit. So this is one that's taken, to use Bill's words, to borrow Bill's words, this is a frustrating one that's taking longer than it should. That we definitely want to get printed and out, because it's a beautiful artwork by Tim Allen supporting the game. Also, we're making great progress on Western Front Ace. So Gregory, I'll have him on a future episode. And right now we're in pre-production artwork with Ian Wedge, and Ian actually just recently freed up. Ian's done some artwork. He's actually teamed up with Gregory on several of his U-boat games in the past, etc. And he does some great artwork, and he really specializes. I would say, UK World War I period. He does a great job as well. So Western Front Ace is in the full hands of Ian Wedge, the graphic artist that we're very happy and pleased to be working with as well. So I think that covers hopefully the questions about projects I've been asked about. A few more. Let's see. David Bolt's forthcoming World War I game. There's an approach I take for certain titles that really needs to be followed, that I never want to rush a designer. And certain designers really put a lot of effort into development with their, what I call their private playtest groups. They have a cadre of hardcore gamers. I don't want to disrupt that to say, okay, you're done playtesting now, guys. We're gonna just go and get this to artwork. So that's basically what's happening with David Bolt's work. We really want to get this right, and the playtesters love it. I've talked about it before. It's a 2-map game. Again, it's not going to be, what's that Clash of Arms title? When the Leaves Fall. I think the full title is escaping me, but it's not going to be that complex. It's actually using the SPI Tannenberg Great War in the East quad game system, but it's got some command rules overlaid on it. It's it's adding some Chrome where needed for focus, but that's a case where it's fully sitting with David. I'm not disrupting him. He's got play testers getting together actively and playing it. We had the same scenario with Hitler's Last Gamble, but that one's further along. Hitler's Last Gamble went through some incredible development and play testing, and I've got the full project team engaged now in working with the artist to get the map's incredible. I've shown the map before, and the map's just amazing work. What very complex map to get done with all the geographic detail to it. But that one's further along. That one where the designer said, yes, we're now ready. We're done with play testing. So we're now full mode of pre-production. I just want to mention Hitler's Last Gamble was going to be a fantastic designer signature edition title, because I know the 3W title had loads of errata issues with it that really made it a challenge and a mountain to climb. Home before the leaves fall. Thanks, Lloyd, for helping me. Is Korean War still on for July? It is, because Bill's whipping my crack. So whipping the crack on me for Korean War. That's my #1 project priority, is Korean War. As Bill's laughing, you can see his reaction right in there. I've got proof. Look at Bill's face right now. That is my hot seat. Is look at me, Korean War. I am one with Korean War right now. So where that is right now is I want to give a hat tip actually to the I want to give a hat tip to the Thomas family. The whole family's got involved, where we've printed the 4 maps for Korean War. We've got the counters already in-house. So we've got the actual counters, and we paid to have a separate printout done of the map. And we've gone through literally almost hex by hex the map. And we've gone through the numerous charts and tables and displays that are on the map. Don't worry. There'll also be separate player aid cards as well, so you don't have to use the map for everything. But we went through, there's a lot of documentation right now I'm going through with proofing. Joe Bukowski's, we've been talking all week about proofing, and he's going through a lot of the proofing notes for the map right now. So where we are with Korean War is want to desperately get it done, because the reason why, and Bill would tell you, the reason why we want it done is we want Joe working on 5th Fleet, the Fleet series. And the longer I keep Joe Bukowski on Korean War, the longer I keep him away from the Fleet series. So it's really just proofing right now, but it's a lot of proofing. It's a lot of charts and tables, let me tell you, in the Korean War. There's a lot to it. Hard to rush through it. July, yeah, when Bill asked, yeah, July. I don't have the solution yet, but that's my answer. I'm sticking to July as my answer for now. And Eastern Front Tank Leader is another question. That one's with Shane in the artwork. We're looking to proof the final counter sheets for Eastern Front, but he also has another project where we're going to get the 5 counter sheets to the printer in 2 weeks. So right now we've got a priority for Fall of Tobruk 3rd Deluxe Edition to get the counters done in 2 weeks' time. And that's going to be our first priority. And then we're going to return back to that game, just to give you an idea. So let's see. I think that covers all the questions. So just a reminder, there was a question about Compass Games Expo. Bill, do you want to talk a little bit quickly about Compass Games Expo, which is scheduled for November? It's on our website. If you click on Expo 2020, it will take you to our Expo page. I think I'm just making an adjustment. I think our sign-up sheet and roster information has dropped off, but I'll get it back this weekend. But we've got active signups, game signups, attendees, and maybe you can cover a little bit, Bill, with everybody what Compass Expo, our 3rd year, what it's all about, and what people can expect from it.
Yeah, I think we almost might not have had a 3rd year. Okay, and who knows with coronavirus what's going to happen down the road. But yeah, what happened was, which is a very well-known hotel in the central part of Connecticut, okay, big hotel for spaces, okay, actually closed down in February, or maybe January, and they owed taxes, and one day they were there, the next day they weren't, okay, and there were some issues. It was a little run down last time, okay, it's been there for 20, maybe 40 years, then they've done, but it was run down, and so we knew they were having problems financially, so we went looking. And the problem is around here to get 10,000 square feet of space is very difficult. Okay, people think it's easy, but so we finally got, I think, Comfort Inn. Is it Comfort Inn or Days?
We got Comfort Inn Suites in Meriden, Connecticut. I thought I'd bring up the webpage for everybody, and they can easily find the Expo 2020 link to get there. It's right there on the top area there. Yep.
Oh, so I can't remember, but I'm looking online and somebody said, oh, classy, like Comfort Inn. This is not a Comfort Inn like a normal Comfort Inn. It used to be a banquet hall. Comfort Inns don't have 10,000 square feet of meeting space. Okay. So
yeah, that's true.
So it's a bigger space. Okay. It's going to be a great time. And we give, I think we're one of the only conventions that have pizza night where we pay, okay, for dinner for people. Okay. We have donuts every morning. Okay, we do the 50%
Love
sale.
the sale. Everybody loves the sale. I think that's the best part.
No, the
I
problem,
think the sale's the best part.
but I might have to go a little,
50% off.
but I might have to go a little lower because I'll tell you why.
Okay.
Because I did the COVID sale or that sale, and it was
Yeah.
40% off. So I might have to go a little lower, but I'll decide that at the time.
Yeah. Okay.
It's just a great time. I think we all have a good time, and this place has a lot of eating places in walking distance.
That's a good point. People can dine out walking distance from the hotel. That's something important people ask about.
And like I said, it's only $45 for how many? I think it's three days, 4 nights. Right? We start on Thursday night and
Thursday night and go through Monday at 5 p.m. We close Monday at 5 p.m. You know, exactly.
The rates here are a lot cheaper
than
what they were at the other place. And I think we're going to have a great time. I think we've had a great time over the last two conventions, and I hope everybody will attend because it's a good time to have.
Yeah, and the venue there is we have some tournaments, not too many. I know Designer Edition Bitter Woods. Randy Heller did a great job with his tournament he did. We had a few other tournaments. I know Gregory Smith, who just commented below. Greg's there, and he does a lot of play tests because he has a lot of designs in the work. So he's always doing his play tests of his games, or maybe he's even teaching people his published games. I know he did a lot of Interceptor Ace last November. So you've got play test sessions as pickup games for sure that designers would look for help on. Various designers and some complex designs, some bigger designs like Beneath the Southern Cross also was being done, very well attended as well. So some great, many play tests going on, different eras, and a lot of open gaming, monster games. Really, it's across the board. Great. We see a great contingent of folks come down from Canada, which is great as well. Get the Canadian folks to come down. So overall, it's really good. I think we're adding a seminar, if I understand, Bill. I think we're having talks, or we're still discussing amongst ourselves that there might be a side room that, yes, people did ask last year about, can we have a presentation from a designer or an update, a company update inside Compass Games Update. So I know there's a lot of questions about that.
There is a separate room here, so we can do that now.
So wonderful. So that's another nice addition to the venue. So that sounds fantastic. So what I'm going to do, just so everybody knows, because I've gone way over the hour, I promised to steal from your lives today. So I apologize for going 15 minutes over. There were some final questions about game ideas. Rest assured, we see all your game ideas. And
I had a quick anecdote I wanted to offer about
Yes, please.
Okay.
Yes.
Hitler's Last Gamble, which was in production at 3W when I got there, and which in 88, 89, which we referred to as Poulter's Last Gamble, because
Poulter's Last Gamble.
He desperately needed the cash flow from it.
Got you.
The reason it was published with so much errata was that Heath had actually found a playtest team to really tackle it. It was quite an involved game by the standards of those days. And they came up with a big list of the questions, all the stuff that you later experienced as errata when it came out. And he gave it to me, this list of questions that his playtesters had sent in.
Oh, ouch.
He says, get with Danny Parker. This is the game you're talking about, right?
Yes, it is. Danny Parker's game. I know.
Okay.
Yeah.
So this is still pre-internet days. This is like 88, 89. And so I tracked it. We had his home number. I guess it was his wife or his mother I got on the phone. He had left for a vacation in the Grand Canyon. So, madam, do you have his hotel at the Grand Canyon? You got to understand, we had a place in line at this one printer. And if you lost the place in line, you don't go back one, you go back to the end of the line. And so that would have been like another 30 days later. He had that kind of hole in his cash flow. Yeah. So I get on the hotel and I'm speaking to the guy at the desk. Do you have a guest there named Danny Parker? Why, yes, he's just left on the big mule tour to go down to the bottom of the Grand Canyon for the next 2 weeks.
Oh, no.
So he's literally disappearing over the horizon as I'm on the phone. So I went back to Keith, and he had the choice of either going ahead with the game as it was, because we did not have an understanding of the system, or we basically tried to answer as best we could, either going ahead or losing that place in line and getting that 1 month hole in the cash flow. Well, that was an easy decision for Keith. So that's why that game was published with so much errata back at 3W, because the designer, it wasn't timed right. The designer was unavailable we could have answered all those questions had he not or if he had a sat phone like today, we could talk to him at the bottom of the Grand Canyon. But it was just the clerk at the hotel saying, "Oh, that tour is literally disappearing over the rim of the canyon right now."
Oh my gosh.
So,
And I thought the whole reason was so I could get a chance to do a new edition with Danny. I think this was all orchestrated, 30 years ago, just so
sure.
we could have a chance to do Danny's game again. So that's a great story.
You
You've
can
got a
see
lot
God-
of great stories. You've told me a lot of stories, Ty, in the last week or
See
two. I've
God's
been
hand.
enjoying
Yeah.
them.
I'm full of them, so that's how that game got published. Boulder's Last Gamble.
That's Poulter's Last Gamble. There you go. Sounds like a nice little addition to Paper Wars as a bonus, I think. Well, maybe we'll talk about that offline. So at this stage, I want to thank everybody who's joined us today. I want to especially thank and welcome Ty Bomba to the Compass team. We're absolutely pleased and so excited to have you, Ty, available and working with us for Paper Wars. We know, the magazine is in great stewardship moving forward under your leadership. So, and we know you're really good at taking customer feedback and getting ideas. And I know they'll be keeping you busy for months and months ahead. So welcome again to the team. And again, just also, I want to thank Bill for joining. And I think the big headline news is Bill, who I've struggled for a year or 2 years to get to talk ever on video or anything, is now going to do weekly sessions. How did this happen? What is there a new vitamin pill on the market? What happened? So that is like a big headline, which I just found out about a few hours ago, which I'm really excited about. That we're going to have Bill answering all your questions about Compass. And as you can see, we're very open. I'll take any questions. I don't filter out any questions. I never believe in doing that. So we'll take all questions, all comers. We want to give you a better understanding of Compass, how Bill thinks about things and how he drives the company. And I thoroughly enjoy the time I spend with Bill. I'll tell you that much. It's been a pleasure ride. So we'll be doing that weekly, I think on Friday nights. So I'll be buying a lot of flowers for my wife for date nights that I might be missing, but I'll figure that out separately. I'll go into negotiation phase with my wife. I think that's my sequence of turn right now coming up, but I'll work that out behind the scenes. But so that's the big news for everybody who missed the beginning, that we're going to be doing more regular sessions of, we'll try to do weekly with Bill. We spoke with Ty earlier before today's episode. We're going to do an episode behind every Paper Wars issue. So we'll go in depth, try to bring in the designer, bring on the artist if the artist is available. We'll bring everybody together from the Paper Wars team that made that subscription, made that issue happen. We want to bring you closer to what we're doing at Compass, and we hope you get some enjoyment and some more sense of community. Given our social distancing, maybe we can form a closer community online because you're helping support us and make us successful, and that's what we want. We want to get closer to all of you. So thanks again. I probably forgot a bunch of stuff to say, but I'm way over. So Bill, I'm going to let you have the last word for today to just thank everybody.
Okay, I just wanted to say, Ty, great to have you on board. Okay, John, I don't think I need to say anything. Okay, you've done a great, and couldn't do without you. You're my right-hand man out there. So whatever you do, and like I said, I appreciate everybody who buys a game, and you'd be shocked because I never lose touch. Because no matter how many orders I get, I look at every one so I recognize the name.
That's true.
So people will call me and email.
It's a fact.
Say, you ordered that game 2 years ago.
Yeah.
Because I never want to lose the customer, because without you, we're nothing. And we're all about you guys. And that's why I said it's time to let you guys into the Compass family. It's time to let you guys know more about us and how we do things. And look, give us some feedback. Every day I learn something different. Okay, we don't go down a course and just keep trying to do the wrong thing every day. Yes, our games have errata. And you want to know something? Nobody gets, I can't stand it. Okay, and our games are in the pipeline for 3-4 years at times before anybody gets to see it. Okay, and yes, we miss stuff. And yes, people say, well, you should get a proofreader. We have proofreaders. Okay, and if you guys think you guys hate errata, okay, John can tell you.
Oh,
and Bill,
yeah, plenty of stories.
Especially what aggravates me is map errata, okay, or counter errata, okay. And I'll tell you, I can't. I'm getting upset even talking about it. So that has been a high priority, and yes, we fail at times, okay. But that doesn't mean it's not a high priority, and we're not trying to do better every time. And so again, I just want to I'm glad Ty's on board. I'm glad John's on board, and we're moving forward. I'm glad I have all customers like you guys who continue to buy our games and support us. So thank you to everybody.
Thank you so much, Bill, for those closing words. And again, I just want to also thank everybody. As you can see from behind me, we've got Castrine shipping right now. It's already halfway through. We've got new pre-orders like Zeppelin Raider, Pacific Tide over here. Course, Paper Wars, we've got Hannibal. So a lot of exciting things coming down the pike. And again, we hope to see you every week from now on. And again, thanks for staying extra long with us. For those watching the recorded session, we hope we'll catch you for a live stream. And it's always a pleasure for us to talk with you and to get your questions. So Ty, I'll let you.
Can I say one quick thing?
Yes, please.
Just a clarification. Since the word has gotten out that I'm editor of Paper Wars, I've been contacted by several people who are wondering if my work for my other companies that I work for is ended. No, I'm doing 4 issues of Paper Wars a year. I figure each issue will be 1 month of my work. That's 8 other months. All my other work continues apace. So I just wanted to get that out there. It's I won't be disappearing from elsewhere in the hobby either.
Ty is the machine, everybody. Remember, Ty is the machine.
Well,
if we ever need another 20 titles for a year, we're going to go to Ty. Bill, I think Ty's available to, I think he can do another 20 titles for us this year. What do you think, Bill? You want to add more to the pipeline? What do you think?
8 more months we got to get out of it.
Well, I figure, if you can't edit an issue of a magazine in 1 month, you're in the wrong profession. I mean, that's all it's to it, so
all right.
It'll be all right. It'll be good.
All right. Thanks so much. Thanks again for your time, Ty, Bill. We'll be talking again next week. Thanks everybody for joining us live or on the recording. We'll talk to you again soon. Over and out. Have a great day. Bye-bye.
Why? What?
Look, John's still there.
Hey, what are you doing?